Hi, everyone. Starting seated, either Virasana on a bolster, a block, a pillow. You can sit in an easy seat and you can sit on a chair. And just take a nice deep breath with no other purpose but to breathe. And close your eyes, and I'm going to introduce a visual. It's an inner smile. And it doesn't even have to appear on your face, but most likely your face will at least relax, if not embody a smile. So as we sit here, and if you want to know what to do with your hands, you can just place them on your lap up, you can place them on your lap down, you can place them even right here, just for 5 breaths, 5 more breaths. And whatever inner smile means to you, just channel it. I'm intentionally being quiet so that you can have your experience. And I don't know about you, but it definitely changes my energy. So I'm going to stick with my chakra exploration. I mentioned it last time that by coincidence, I've chosen in the last week to use root chakra mudras. Just so happens. So that's led me to the one mudra within the root chakra parameters that I haven't spoken about yet, and that's the grounding chakra. Sorry, mudra. I made that mistake last time. But in terms of chakras, there are different areas or energies that are placed along the spine. The root chakra is at the base of the spine, which makes total sense. And what I found really interesting in reading about it is it relates to the material world. And it struck me that this whole experience that we're living through has so much to do with the material world, i.e., the external world. So I thought it was fitting for me to sort of add that information. It helped me, and just wanted to throw in that the way that I look at these chakras and mudras is it's just a context within which to be curious, to explore, and to examine, and kind of let whatever floats in just be part of the experience. So the root chakra is also related to grounding, stability, security, and support, all the things that we need. So backtrack to what I was saying before, we're going to explore the grounding mudra, which is, some of these mudras are complex, like some yoga poses, and some of them are really kind of simple. So this one is, we're just going to make a peace sign with your index and middle fingers on both hands. Tuck your ring finger and your pinky in and place your thumb on top of it, like that. And you can just point them down to the earth, which kind of makes sense, right? It almost feels like you're trying to connect yourself to the ground. If that's not comfortable for you, you can put your hands wherever. I'm going to keep them here. And let's take rather than 10, we'll take like 7 breaths. And again, I'm more interested in you having your experience with the information that I've given you, and to understand that this is not like anything magic or as far as I'm concerned, it's context. And a really easy way to use this is to just repeat grounding as you're sitting here breathing. That's a very simple approach. So continue to breathe, continue to let that idea of grounding kind of permeate your body, your mind, and understand it's a downward action, as is rooting at the base of your spine. I've lost count. So we'll do about 2 more breaths. And just let it go. If that caused any kind of stress in your hands, just like shake it out. And whatever way that you're seated, I'm going to place hands on lap. Take a nice deep breath. We're into our cats and cows. Inhale. Open your heart. Exhale. Pull your tummy in. You can do it that way. Inhale. Arch your back. Exhale. Round your back. So just once we get the pace and the momentum going, inhale. Exhale. We'll do 5. Inhale. Exhale. 4. Inhale. 3. Exhale. 2. And last one. Come back to neutral spine. Just circle your shoulders right where they are. For 5, going back. And 5, coming forward. Extend the fingers as much as you can. Don't place them on the floor, just stretch them. So you're stretching them towards the floor, but you're also stretching the thumbs away from the pinkies, so your hands are as wide as they possibly can be. And as you aim the fingertips down, see if you can feel your armpits. Take a nice deep breath. And on the exhale, connect to your armpits even more. Then we're going to make the arms heavy, and we're just going to bring them out to the side. So take a moment here to make sure that you're not, hyperextending your elbows or sending too much energy into the arms as they're doing too much. You don't want them to do a lot, because all we're going to do is circle. Your shoulders are probably going to want to pop up, but send your attention there and remind them that they stay down. And then we're going to go the other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hands behind the back, clasp the palms together, squeeze the shoulder blades, keep the elbows soft. So hopefully this is becoming second nature for you. You already know all the internal actions to use. That's the point of repeating, to create new patterns. Release the arms, interlock fingers, stretch your palms towards me. Everything can round but your shoulders. So keep the shoulders down, but you can round all the way down to your tailbone. Could feel really, really nice. Release. Hands behind the back. Elbows soft. Breathe into the front of your lungs. This pose opens up the front of your lungs and your heart. And one more time. This opens up the back of your lungs. Especially if you send your attention to widening across your shoulder blades. You're really breathing into the back of the lungs, which is the largest part of the lungs. And we want to keep our lungs healthy in the best of times, but particularly now. So we're going to let it go. Going to take right hand to left knee. If you're sitting on a bolster or whatever, but it honestly doesn't matter. Just going to take a nice deep corkscrew twist, loving your edge. So that you know that that just means going to your edge and using your breath, not judging your edge. I'm going to bring it over to the other side. Same thing. And your edge might be soft on one side and hard on another. All you want to do is include your abdominal breathing, which means pulling your tummy in on the exhale. When we come back, we're going to speed that up a little bit. Try not to get too sloppy. Inhale up, exhale to the left. Inhale up, exhale to the right. That's all it's about. Inhale up, exhale to the left. Inhale up, exhale to the right. Two more. Inhale up, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale. Inhale. Coming back to the center, I'm going to throw this in just because. With hands on the lap, you're going to go into a deep cat, and then we're going to circle the ribs for 5 in one direction. As long as you're circling those ribs, you can get as creative with this as you like. Just to move your body. And reverse. For 3, and 2, and 1. So coming back, let it all kind of settle in. We're doing a lot of sitting. At least I'm doing a lot of sitting, unusually a lot of sitting. So all this moving feels so good. If you're sitting in Virasana and you're able to, just going to take that right leg, straighten the knee, and put it out in front. If you're sitting in an easy seat, you can still just take, well, let me demonstrate. You can just take your right leg out straight and keep the other one like that. So let that all kind of start flowing again. When you sit in Virasana, it kind of stops the flow. Just going to shut this off. Sorry. Okay. Before we do anything, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Going to find the pelvic floor. Effortlessly rise the spine. Crown of the head floats away. And then we fold forward. So if you're in Virasana, this is very challenging. It might be challenging anyway. So again, we love our edges. So we respect our edges and we only go as far as our edges allow. But then we use our breath and we use our abdominals. And we see if that helps to go a little further, but that's not what it's about. If you can, hold on to your foot to keep it square, mostly, and keep reaching through the heel. So we're going to take 2 more breaths. Hinging it back up, I'm going to take that right, left hand, either here, 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 it doesn't matter, and take a nice gentle twist. Again, pulling your tummy in. And you'll notice the difference when you do that. And it might actually, when you change the shape of your body, you actually start to feel different parts of the body. So allow that to happen. Coming back to the center. Switch your legs. If with the left leg straight, just for the sake of alignment, keep the heel lining up with the center of the hip. Take a moment. This becomes second nature after a while, and it's the reason I repeat it. So pelvic floor, spine rises, crown of the head floats away, and then we fold forward. And as we fold forward, try to keep your back unrounded. Makes a big difference. And then you might actually feel the left buttock bone moving away from the left heel. And then if you can grab your foot, you can kind of exaggerate that. Always pulling your tummy in. It's So pull your tummy away from your leg. You're going to come halfway up so we don't disturb the whole progression. And we're going to turn that into a twist. Using the breath. And unrounding the back at some point. Nice. So everybody's going to have a different way of getting into a hang. I happen to like I like smooth transitions. So for me, it's just a matter of tucking my toes under and finding my way up to this hang. And in this hang, we're just going to take 5 breaths and step back so you'll be able to see me through this whole thing. And with the 5 breaths, if you're practicing abducting, press the balls of the big toes down, outer edges of the heels apart, firing up the outsides of the legs all the way up to your buttock bones. Take about 2 more breaths here. If you're not practicing or ready to do abducting, just let the head and the arms hang really heavy, and you might feel your spine dangling. And then we're going to take a nice, deep, slow abdominal roll up with the toes staying, not the toes, without the toes gripping. Okay, knees staying soft. Take a nice deep breath. Again, when you exhale, make sure that the shoulders fall down on top of the armpits, the best description. So we're going to float the arms up, again, shoulder height. Take a breath and keep the arms really heavy. I'm going to demonstrate this one time, otherwise I think people are going to get completely lost. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up, they can touch. Exhale to a side. I'm close to the door. When we exhale to the right, we're going to take a breath to realign and bring that right hip forward. It's a really nice twist. And then we're going to inhale up. We're going to do the same thing to the left. Take a breath here to bring that left hip bone back around. And stay a little. So inhale, bring the arms up to touch. Exhale, twist to the right. Take a breath to bring the right hip bone forward. Swing the arms up, keep them heavy. Exhale to the left. Take a breath to bring the left hip bone forward. Swing that back arm up. Take a twist to the right. Arms stay heavy. Take a breath for the right hip bone to come forward. Inhale up. We're going to go to the left. Take a breath. Left hip bone comes forward. So I want to do 3 more of those at a gentle pace. Inhale. Exhale. Take a breath. Right hip forward. Inhale. Exhale. Take a breath. Left hip forward. Inhale. Take a breath. Right hip forward. Inhale. Take a breath. Left hip forward. Inhale, last round, right hip forward. Inhale, last one, left hip forward. And just bring the arms down. We're going to roll down this time. Tuck the chin into the throat and send your attention to your spine. And try to feel every vertebrae. Fix your feet if they got a little misaligned. Make sure they're hips width apart and the heels are behind the second and third toe. If your fingertips are down on the floor, have a soft touch. Take about 3 breaths to find your abduction. It'll feel really good after the twist that we just did. Inhaling and exhaling. Take a walk over to the right. Breathing into the left side. Take a walk back to the center and over to the left. Breathing into the right side. Come back to the center. We're going to bend the knees and sit down. Take a breath or two just to acknowledge this relationship and see if you can feel your thighs supporting your chest. It's a chair pose variation. Bringing the arms to the height that you're most comfortable, right? We're just going to stay here for a few breaths. This is very strengthening for the legs. And the butt's going to go up and the head's going to go down. We'll do that 2 more times. Bring the arms up. Don't strain. Just bring them up to a comfortable place because this is mostly about the legs. I'm going to turn to the side. 1 more. Arms out and breathe into this relationship and feel your legs supporting you. Butt goes up, head goes down. So I'm going to add a little challenge. Your choice. You can either repeat what we just did, you can do this, or you can not do it at all. And we'll end up all meeting in a child's pose. So we're going to add to this. We're going to sit down again, so you knew that one was coming. Now we're going to come up onto the balls of the feet and see if we can multitask here. Balance, strengthen, right? Now, fingertips come down, heels come down, butt goes up, head goes down. We're going to do 2 more of those. Up on the toes, bring the arms up. Make sure you're breathing and concentrating. Fingertips down, heels down, butt up, head down. 1 more, up on the toes. Breathe. Arms at a comfortable height, no straining in the shoulders. Inhale, exhale. Fingertips down, heels down, fold. Come on down to the mat. And sit your butt back to your heels. And let's move it around a little bit. Okay, move this. Before we move on, just to open up shoulders a bit, let's walk the fingertips forward until your butt is kind of lined up with your knees. Now we're just going to use gravity to settle into this puppy dog. Specifically to open up your shoulders. You'll feel the tops of your shoulders most likely. And if that's okay, and you can actually surrender to gravity, find the outer edges of the armpits and wrap them to the floor. And this is literally the shoulder rotation we're practicing when we do dogs. Take about 2 more breaths. Nice. And perhaps you'll feel a little bend in this part of your back. But don't worry if you don't. I'm going to sit back on the heels because we're going to do that 1 more time. Rock it back and forth. Whatever your body tells you to do, listen. That happens to be a form of grounding, right? So the more you can bring it back home and pay attention to what's natural within you. And 1 more time, walk it forward. Puppy dog, gravity, outer edges of the armpits wrap to the floor, slight bend in the middle to upper back. And then think about your armpits getting really long. And 1 more breath. Beautiful. Sitting back in your child's pose. So we're going to do our sequence. I'll call it out. Just going to do 5 for flow. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Wave it forward. Inhale, wave it back. Exhale, down to the knees, open the heart, and back to the heels. Exhale. So this is in the interest of choreography. At first, we have to think so hard about what we're doing, but eventually the body remembers, and then you can just dance. And that's the point. 3 more. upward facing, exhale, downward facing, flow, wave forward, flow, wave back, inhale forward, exhale. Those of you who know this, you can start to pay attention to the transitions. Watch how the upward dog becomes the downward dog. Watch how the downward dog becomes the plank. Then the plank becomes the dog again. Come down to the knees, it becomes a cow. And then it becomes a cat. Inhale, exhale. Wave it forward. Watch how this inhale becomes an exhale. Come down to the knees, open the heart, and back to the heels. Exhale. I want to stay here for a second. Just to give you a chance to catch your breath ever so much. You want to keep all the movement. You want to sustain that movement. So we're going to inhale, come forward to the upward facing dog. Flip over the toes to the downward facing dog. Find your way to a plank. You're going to stay here for 5 breaths. So make sure that your shoulders are over your wrists. Butt is a little bit higher so you can actually cylindrically wrap into your abdominals. And your heels, the corner of your heels are reaching back. Use your breath. After 5 breaths, just drop your knees and lower yourself down to the mat, onto your tummy. Let's just take a moment here. You can cross your hands, make a little pillow, and drop your forehead. I'm just gonna get rid of my hair while you're doing that. And don't hold it still. Rock your hips back and forth because you can. Okay. From here, this is why we do mudras. It's like hand yoga so that you get really nimble when it comes to doing some of these other poses. So you're going to bring your tented fingers like this, even with your chest on both sides. Drop your forehead down. Take a breath just to remind yourself that you're releasing your glutes and engaging your abdominals because you're going to need it in a second. Before we lift into this cobra, send your attention to your shoulders because the shoulders are going to lift up first and then the head. So you're going to get to your edge. When you get to your edge, immediately release your glutes and engage your core. If you feel this in your lower back, just stop and sit back on your heels. If you don't, try and slide the blades down the back. Release the glutes, engage the core. We're going to lower it down. Take a breath. I'm going to do that one more time. Again, send your attention to your shoulders, across from shoulder to shoulder, and just imagine those lifting first, so the head's still heavy. And then when you get up to your edge, then you can bring that head up. It's like a swan action. Use your breath, release your glutes, engage your abdominals. It changes the entire experience, and it makes it much safer. Inhale, exhale, and bring it down. I'm going to assume that everybody needs to give their lower back a little break. So sit your butt back to your heels and rock your hips back and forth so that you can release that lower back. Come back down onto your tummy. You're going to cross the left forearm at a comfortable place across in front. Again, always respect your edge. Bending the right knee, grabbing onto the right ankle. Most likely, this will throw you out of alignment, so just get yourself back. Remember earlier we were aiming the hip bones? Take a breath here to make sure that that right hip bone is still aiming to the floor. You may be feeling your quad here, and if you are, just close your eyes, send your attention to where you're feeling it, and use your breath. Release your glute, engage your core. If you have more range in this, this is the full pose, but you don't have to do it. I'm doing it so that I wake up my quad. Doing this to wake up all the parts of our body, just so that we can have a relationship. And one more breath, let it go. Rolling on to the left side. You can keep both knees here if this works best for you. Just make sure that your elbow is underneath your shoulder, most important part. And all you have to do is lift your hips and keep your heart open. If that's sort of, in the words of Phyllis, mashed potatoes, straighten the bottom leg, bend the top, and lift. You can bring this arm up, you can leave it here. The trick is to keep the hips up and to breathe into your left side. So I'm going to say 5 at least. If you're feeling like a hero today, you can do more. And then just catch up. Just make sure you keep your heart open and your hips lifted. One more breath. Unless you're doing more, lower down. Get back to your tummy. Rock your hips. At any time, if you need to sit back on your heels, please do. Crossing the right arm in front of your chest at a comfortable distance. Bend the left knee again to your edge so that you can go back and aim that left hip down to the floor to maintain your alignment. Alignment matters. If you're feeling your quad, that's all we're trying to do here. And then release your glute and engage your core. And if you're going deeper into it, just make sure you're always aware of your alignment and you're always releasing your glutes, smooshing your tush, and pressing your navel towards the front of your spine to release your lower back. So we're moving into back bending season, and this is clearly a back bend. Back bend wakes up the front body. And nice. So I'm going to turn around so I can face you. You're going to cross your left, you're going to leave your left arm crossed. You choose which variation you're going to do. Shoulder has to be over the wrist, the elbow. And then we're just going to lift open. You can do this. You can do this, whatever you choose. The only thing I want you to maintain is the lifted hips and the heart stays open. Your choice, how many you want to do. I'm going to do about 3 more. And if you're able to, check in with your shoulders, make sure they're sliding down your back. And drop those hips. Roll onto your tummy. Sit back on your heels. Rock back and forth. Release your lower back. Come forward onto all fours. We're gonna we didn't do our cats and cows, so we're just gonna do that. So inhale forward. Exhale to your cat. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, contract into your abdominals for 3, for 2, and for 1. Gonna come back, inhale forward, exhale, sit back on your heels. We'll do 4 more of those. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Come back to all fours. Take a breath. We're doing a lot of moving, so moving does pull you out to the edges. So if you need a moment at any time to come back to your center, please take that moment. Sometimes it's just a matter of going back to your breath. Sometimes it's if the repeating the words of the mudras helps you. You can repeat those words to bring you back. It's such a good practice for stress, anxiety, and tension in general. So we're going to extend the right arm forward and the left leg back. Inhaling and exhaling. We're going to do inhale, extend, exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend, exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend for 3. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale for 2. Exhale. Inhale for 1. Exhale. When we come back here, make sure, I think I lost it, so make sure the shoulder stays over the wrist. Going to bring that right hand down and reestablish your alignment. Swivel the right foot, just the foot, see what I'm doing? Over to the right. And here we are again in this side plank. Using your breath, and you might start feeling it right where we strengthened before, which is the purpose. You can point or flex, doesn't matter. You want to stay here for another 5. And if you send your attention right here, you're just going to enhance the possibility of getting much stronger there. Bring it back. Find your alignment. Tabletop. Left arm extends forward. Right leg back. Hold it to get your bearings. We're going to inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. For 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Come back. Make sure everything is back to alignment. Bring that left hand down. Swivel the left foot over. And take about 4 more breaths here, sending your attention to the left side. And check in and make sure you're not sitting too heavy in the left hand. So if you can, for a second, just think about kissing the floor with the left hand and lifting off. So we're not going too deeply into the ground. We don't want to get too grounded, but we want to be able to be grounded and lifted at the same time. Sitting back on your heels. Where are we? Oh, okay. In your child's pose, butt on your heels, very compact. Move it back and forth. Take a little walk over to the right, since we just did all that strengthening in the serratus anterior and your obliques. You want to give them a little stretch. Sitting the hips to the left. Taking the left hand on top of the right if that's available to you. If not, as long as you're feeling it through this side, you're exactly where you should be and having the same experience as everybody else. Left, fingertips to the left, sitting hips to the right, taking it further, right hand over left, breathing, and sending your attention from the right butt all the way out through the right fingertips. And again, if you're feeling it on that right side, we're all in the same place. We're all having the same experience. Coming back to the center, turning the toes under. You can take a second here and open up your toes again, but we did a lot of toe stuff, so we don't have to. Come on up and find your way to the front of the mat. Move this back a little bit. Even though we're standing, it's still an opportunity to pull everything back home, to bring your attention right here to your heart. Close your eyes and become concentric. Bring it all in. We're going to do a little sun salutation here, just to prepare you. Going to inhale, bring the arms out and up, meet at the top. Exhale, swan dive and fold forward. And inhale and extend the spine. And as we exhale, stepping the left foot back and dropping it onto the mat for a half monkey. Take the time to set up your frame and use your breath. And here we are again, trying to manage that, in this case, left hip bone. So before we move on, just send a little instruction to the left hip bone and have it come forward just like we did earlier. And bring your arms up. So with the arms up, we're just going to stay here for a minute. Make a tight fist with your hands and then extend your fingers, checking in with your shoulders. So as the shoulders slide down, the hands stay really active. We're going to do 4, fist, extend, 3, fist, extend, fist, extend. And take a nice, we opened up those quads, so we're going to learn how to lift out of the quads. Bring the hands behind the back. Clasp the palms together. Keep your elbows soft. Use your breath. When we release the hands, bring the left fingertips down to the floor because you're going to bend the right knee and see if you can grab on to your left foot. So again, this is a back bend. Told you we're coming into back bend season. And use your breath to draw the heel towards your butt and see if you can awaken or fire up the quad. Inhaling and exhaling. When we release, turn those back toes under. And we're going to just straighten both knees so we end up in this, it's called Parsvottanasana. And breathe. So some of you may be feeling a very intense stretch here, so just breathe into it. This is going to take a little explanation. The back foot is going to kind of step up a little bit and over to the right so that it's lined up behind the right heel. And then fold forward. Inhaling and exhaling. If this is available to you, so this might be enough of a stretch for you, if your fingertips are on the floor, try walking them over to the right. Extending the left heel down. So find the corner of the left heel. And then just check in with the ball, the big toe of the right foot and press that down. This is an IT band stretch. Inhaling and exhaling. Come back to the center. Step that left foot back to where it was. And just lift the right toes off the floor for a runner's stretch on the right. Step back down onto the right foot. Step the left foot next to the right. Fold forward. Reverse your swan dive. Up to the top. Back to the heart. Take a breath. Other side. Inhale. Bring the arms out and up. Exhale. Fold forward. Inhale. Extend your spine and step the right foot back and drop the knee down to the mat. Staying here, and again, checking in with that right hip bone, and ask the right hip bone to come forward so it lines up with the left. Bring the arms up. See if you can actually feel your quad and lift out of it. Inhaling and exhaling and finding that middle to upper body back bend, shoulders drop down. We're going to extend the fingers, make a fist. For 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands behind the back, clasp the palms together, squeeze between the shoulder blades. If you need to, you can get a little bit deeper into that left hip fold. I'm going to bring right fingertips down on the floor, bend the right knee, fire up that quad, and use your breath. If it's available to you to draw the heel towards your butt, that'll just get you a little more length and depth into that right quad. I'm going to release that back foot. Don't worry about that back foot yet, and just fold forward. That might be a huge stretch in itself. Then we're going to hop the right foot a little bit closer to the left and behind the left. So look at me if you're confused, because it can be confusing. And then fold forward. And again, this might be enough. And while you're doing this, find the corner of the right heel and press the ball of the big toe of the left foot down. Walk fingertips over to the left if you can. Don't worry. That's all about part of loving your edges, meeting yourself where you are, being present, and being kind. Coming back and stepping that foot back to the right, so right foot back to the right, and just going to lift the toes of the left foot. As the toes of the left foot find their way back to the mat, the right foot's going to find its way next to the left. Fold forward. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Exhale, back to the heart. So we have one more sequence. It actually is beneficial to bring everything back to the center. Going to inhale, bring the arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Extend the heart and the spine. Stepping back on the left to warrior one. So this is warrior one. Let's at least start off with the right frame. So the knee is right over the ankle. This leg stays really strong. It tends to think that it's because it's behind you and it's back there, it can kind of slack off and do a little bending. So if you have a back leg like that, pay attention. Make sure it stays strong. You can also pay attention to finding the outer edge of the foot. I'm going to bring the arms up. Inhale, exhale. One more breath. Again, you want to draw everything up from that back leg. I'm going to go to warrior two. So just to play with the shapes. The base doesn't change. You want to make sure you're having a conversation and reminding your base that you're relying on it. Trying to keep the arms heavy, not like hyperextended and doing too much. So here's warrior two. We're going to do 3 times. Swing that back arm up to warrior one. Inhale. Exhale to warrior two. Inhale. Swing it up. Exhale. Warrior two. One more. Inhale. Swing it up. Check in with that back leg. Exhale, warrior two. We're going to stay here. Just take the elbow on top of that knee. Bring the arm overhead. Again, heavy and soft elbow. And extend through that left side. This is why we do all those side bends. Don't lose the base. Don't lose the knee over the heel. Bring both fingertips down to the floor. Step the left foot up next to the right. Phew. Bring the arms up and back to the heart. Last one, hang in there with me. Inhale, bring the arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, extend your spine. Step back on the right, warrior one. Take a second. So the more we practice setting up these frames, the less we have to stop all the time, but it's worth it. So I can see my knee is not up over my ankle. Now it is. Bring the arms up, take a breath, check in with your base, make sure that back leg is not sneaking and getting lazy. So inhale, warrior one, exhale, warrior two. Swing up the back arm. Inhale and exhale. Arms stay soft and heavy. Exhale and inhale. Warrior two. Last one. Warrior one. Exhale to warrior two. Take the left elbow on top of the left knee. Bring that right arm overhead. And just check in with your hips and make sure they're in alignment. So if they're sticking out here, kind of tuck them underneath. And both fingertips on the floor. This time, you're just going to step that right foot next to the left. Bring heels together, toes apart. Come down to your ballet squat. Walk your fingertips out in front without your shoulders, of course. Eventually, I won't have to say that, right? Tailbone goes back, heart goes forward. Hopefully, get some badly needed attention and love into those SI joints. Pull your tummy in, and then we're going to just drop the butt to the floor and go right into boat. Just take a few breaths here. There's a certain comfort in this. At least I think so. So we're going to take about 2 more breaths, pulling the tummy in on the exhale. Release the arms. Also make them heavy, so we don't want to be doing this. We want them to be heavy so that the shoulders get the message to slide down the back, and keep pulling your tummy in. I'm going to give you a choice here. So the full pose, boat variation that I want to do today is hands behind the head, and we're just going to do 10 of these, okay? If that's too challenging for you, you might even get some cramps in your hip flexors. I know some of you do. Just lie down on the floor and try to do that, or a version of that. Or you can just bring your fingertips behind you and do this. Okay? The whole point is to use your abdominals. So pay attention to your breath and pay attention to pulling your tummy in on the exhale. So if we're going to do the full one, you've got to come to your boat here, right? Use your breath. And it's just going to be a gentle elbow to knee. I'm going to do 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Whatever version you chose to do, I'm going to give you a minute to finish up. And find your way down to the mat, down to the floor.
Take your breath throughout your entire body. So feel your feet, feel your knees, feel your hips, feel your shoulders, feel your whole spine, feel your hands, feel your head. And then just check in with the natural curve of the spine. So you want to feel a little bit of a lift in the natural curve of the spine. You're going to bring your feet out to the edges of the mat. And what we're going to do is a gentle drop to the left, drop to the right. And let's do 10 of those. So that was 9. This is going to be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last 1. I don't know about you, but that really released my lower back. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and drop the knees out to the side. Using gravity here. So in other words, we're not forcing anything. We're just surrendering to the forces that are coming down upon our body, which is a really nice way to stretch those hip flexors, right? Using your breath. And one more breath. Carefully bring the knees, hips width apart, feet are on the mat, hips width apart. Just draw the knees kind of halfway up towards your chest. Take both hands, place them on either side of your knees. We're going to do an isometric press of hands into knees and knees into hands for 5. So press for 4, for 3, and 2, and 1. And then just let it go. Hopefully that reset your lower back. And again, we're going to take a nice deep breath throughout the body. And one last twist. So again, you're going to bring those feet on either side of the mat. So as twist. Drop both knees to the left. Take the left heel on the right. On the right knee. Bring the right arm up overhead. When you exhale, pull your tummy in, contract into your abdominals, and you will feel your psoas. Can't walk without our psoas. Back to the center, other side. Square your shoulders off. And the more you contract into your abdominals, the more stretch and length goes to the psoas. Beautiful. We're going to make our way up to a seated position carefully. Oops. Comfortable seat. If you want to go back to that grounding mudra. So we can do that. Or what we did the other day, which is kind of cool. So you can either do this one, you can do whatever you want, but if you'd like to do this one that we did the other day, the centering mudra is bring the thumb and the ring finger together like this and place it on your knees and use your breath. And often the purpose of a yoga practice is to pull you out to the edges, is to challenge you, is to take you out of your comfort zone. If you find
that is what is happening to you in some of these practices, know that practicing coming back to the center, practicing grounding, practicing calming yourself down, calming your nervous system down, is just the other side of the spectrum. The magic happens between one extreme and the other. The magic happens on the spectrum. Take about 3 more breaths, whichever mudra you've chosen or may not have chosen. Hands to the heart. Nice deep breath so you can feel your lungs inflating and deflating. You might feel your heart beating. Clearly a transition passage within. And learning to find that natural voice within you that knows what's right for you is also the purpose of the practice. So fold forward, full circle, back to the earth, grounding, center, and namaste.